What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Peculiar Choices favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Bandai SH Figuarts Rashid. I had to be honest, I'm not really familiar with this character. I have played as him in Street Fighter V, but I just don't know much about him. Which doesn't have much to do with this review, other than I didn't buy him, and this is on loan to me from Extra Zero from a show called Breaking the Mold, which is available on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, etc. And you can look him up on Twitter as well. So let's go ahead and look at the accessories. He comes with 2 saluting or karate hands and 2 stylized or posing hands. That's in addition, of course, to the 2 fist hands we saw in the opening footage. 2 effect pieces on a translucent plastic with some white airbrushing going on that can clip around his foot with a peg and hole sort of action. And 2 extra faces, one really happy, let's have a water balloon fight face, and one, well, good day to you too, face. And of course you get your backdrop like they have been doing, a nice print on 2 pieces of cardboard that I think is relatively useless, but I guess it's a nice thought. As for the figure, as you can see, it's a double ball peg from the head into the neck, and then it feels like a single from the neck into the chest. And this is how you swap out the faces, so I figured it was worthwhile showing. The detailings on the face and head are fantastic. The beard is sculpted nicely, painted nicely. The expressions are all unique and cool across the board. I love the eye sculpt. I love the paint on the eyes. It all looks great. The straps around the hat are sculpted and molded and painted, and then the little green accents are all painted on. And we have a green translucent eye lens with black paint lined on the top and bottom, and some subtle shading on the hat itself. Really well done. The arms are on disc hinges. You can get them up to here, and then you can get them all the way around. The disc hinge connects with a ball peg into the chest, so you can get a little bit of butterfly joint, not the greatest, but a little bit back and forth. And by utilizing it, that's what helps you keep the fluidity of the arm when putting the arm straight out to the side. The skin tone has a very extreme shading on it, which almost looks more red than a darker brown. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It might be true to the character design. I can't remember off the top of my head. So maybe if that's the case, fine. If not, it's a little too much. The bands, though, are all sculpted and painted cleanly. No bicep swivel, and you could have had it at one of the bands. You do get a slight swivel utilizing the shoulder. Nothing for the elbow. Oh, you do get a swivel at the elbow, so it all works. I didn't see the joint, but there is a cut joint right there. So that's nice. Double jointed elbow gets you 90 degrees. The sculpting of the musculature looks especially good on this guy. Then you have the wrists, which are all sculpted and painted with these wristbands. And then you have a typical ball hinge for the wrist, which allows the wrist to move up and down or to spin and move in and out. And that's how that works. Same for the other side, just different bracelets. Then we have a double ball peg from the chest into the abdomen, and then a single from the abdomen into the pelvis. Utilizing both, you get the figure all the way down to there. You can maneuver this backpack out of the way a bit and get him a bit further back, but it is a bit of a cheat, but I think it's ultimately fine. And then over a little teapot and all that kind of stuff, and the swivel. So all that works well. The chest itself has these straps that are all sculpted and painted quite sharp. The backpack can swivel around, sculpted, painted, sharp. No issues. We have subtle shading on the white with a shade of gray, which looks good. And then we have this floating piece that's connected to this belt. The belt doesn't swivel, at least it doesn't appear to. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it all is all sculpted and painted cleanly. And then these pieces kind of move independent of one another, especially this back piece, for whatever reason. And then we have the pelvis. The pelvis has universal joints with hip covers, like we've seen on some of the Dragon Ball Z stuff. So that allows you to get the leg all the way up, no issue, and all the way out to the side. Stiff joint, but it works. Thigh swivel, built around the universal, so no issue there. Single ball hinge knee, or disc hinge knee rather, and it is nice. It's not too unsightly. It's not the best in the world, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's pretty clean when he's standing straight, so I guess that's the cost to be the boss, so to speak. Subtle shading on the pants. Then we have the boots, which are all sculpted and painted nicely. And then we have the ankle tilt up, ankle tilt down, and a rocker. You would think that you would get more of a rocker from looking at this, but you don't. And then you get a toe hinge, and then we get the boots that are all sculpted and painted, everything to the nines, including the sole of the shoe. Now, there's that not so subtle shading again on the feet, which I'm not a big fan of. And then there's the figure from the back. Instead of a skit today, we'll take a look at the old Street Fighter shelf and see how it's shaping up. Pretty good. I can't wait to do a diorama for this stuff. It also gives you a bit of a size comparison with him with the rest of the cast. So that's shaping up nicely. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep these super dynamic poses once I get more characters, but for right now, everything looks pretty good. Final thoughts wise, my only real negative is I wish I could have got more of an ankle rocker, but as you can see, you can definitely pull off a good pose with what you got. And I think for a lot of these fighting characters, a 90-degree elbow bend just isn't enough. I think you need a more extreme elbow bend there to kind of get the characters in a lot of the poses you really want them to be in. It's not going to hinder you too much, as you can see, but it would definitely give you a lot more options. I guess the knees aren't the prettiest, but to me, that's a small price to pay for the cost of doing business here. Oh, one other criticism I forgot to mention is that shading is a little intense on the skin tones. But on the positive side, the rest of the shading is done really well. The paint is especially clean. I've been seeing a lot of Figuarts stuff recently where the paint has been a little hit or miss. Back to business as we know it on this one. The articulation, with the exception of the elbows, works across the board for the most part. Sculpt is dead on the money. I love the face sculpts. It's some of their best face sculpts, I feel like, on this guy. Tons of character coming through in each expression. Attention to details all over the place. It's just a really solid, well done figure. Unfortunately, I have a character that doesn't mean much to me. So it's a recommend for me for sure. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.